Welcome back to Bayou Time. I'm Jacob DeGate, and I'm now joined by Captain Brennan Matherne with the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office. Captain, thank you very much for joining us.
Hey Jacob, it's good to be here.
All right, I know it's the start of a new school year. A lot of parents out there must be very anxious about sending their kids back to school. Of course, the way school ended last year's with the shootings around the country. Can you tell us what type of safety events or precautions have been put in place by the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office?
Yeah, Jacob, I'm one of them. I'm one of those parents, and I'm sending two kids to school for the first time. My youngest is starting pre-K this year, so I have two reasons to be very concerned about that. And like all other parents, I mean, certainly, anytime that you're sending your kids off, you want to have that comfort to know that they're being taken care of. And from certainly we know that the school district is going to take real good care of our kids, and they're going to get a quality education with the Lafourche Parish Public School System. But on the sheriff's office side, you want to know that we're prepared as well. And what I can tell you is every year we go through recertifications. All of our deputies that are post-certified and have arrest powers and carry a firearm all go through recertifications. And part of that is active shooter training. Like, as you mentioned, we know how last school year ended with the shooting at Parkland, and certainly mass shootings have unfortunately become somewhat commonplace in the U.S. And so obviously it's a focus for us. Now, we train not just with schools, but to go into any potential situation. To kind of as a comfort note, certainly parents know that we have our school resource officers who are already in so many of our schools, so that if any incident like that would take place, we would already have an officer on scene. That being said, there's a lot of questions and concerns from parents regarding our procedure. And what I can tell you is the way that we train is the first deputy has discretion, but the first deputy on the scene can go in. And that's how we train. We train to go in. We don't wait for others to arrive. That was part of the old way of training, so to speak, that you had to wait for a certain amount of people to arrive. But like most other law enforcement agencies, we train our deputies that you have that discretion to go directly into the building and respond when there is an active shooting event going on. For our school resource officers who are on campus every day during school, they go through active shooter training multiple times through the year, not just once for recertification. So it should be a comfort for parents to know that anyone that's responding, and especially the school resource officers, would be capable. But I would say that, look, our having those SROs in our school, they're our eyes and ears, and they're on the lookout for suspicious behavior, not just on the day that something might happen, but every day. They get to know these students, and they would know a problem and hopefully spot a problem long before it ever reaches that point.
Okay, and speaking of the people, I guess if they have, I guess concerns about an individual, maybe he said something, who should they contact, or what kind of procedure should they follow?
There's ultimately a number of different ways that they can go about it, and it really is about the comfort level with that particular student or their parents. The most anonymous way of doing it, obviously, is to submit information through Crime Stoppers Bayou Region, not so much for a reward, but just for the use of the anonymity. When that information is received by Crime Stoppers, which is a third-party nonprofit, their tips will be submitted to the proper authorities, whether that be here at the sheriff's office, the school board, or a combination of both. It should be noted that they can also talk to those school resource officers if they feel comfortable with that deputy. But ultimately, any administrator at the school, a teacher, anyone, look, the bottom line is for if you see something, to say something, whether that's to a teacher, a principal, an SRO, literally anyone. But it more than likely will start with a conversation between the student and their parents. So parents, it's really important that when you have those conversations, that you understand what your child is trying to tell you.
Okay, another area, I guess, safety concern, of course, is dealing with people getting to and from school, either whether they take in the bus or they get their individual transportation. Can you tell us, what type of I guess preparation goes into making sure all those school zones are safe and those are actively enforced?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, as a parent myself, I was pleasantly surprised to learn that my second grader was already learning bus safety in the first couple of days that they got to school. Even though she doesn't take a bus, it's good for them to know those procedures, all the kids as well. So ultimately, I think that the schools are doing a great job of making sure the students know what to do. But it's our job to make sure that the parents and the other motorists know what to do on the road as well. So again, now that school buses are on the highway, make sure you're watching out for those. Make sure that you're coming to a complete stop if that school bus is stopped in front of you. And make sure you familiarize yourself with the rules of the road and when to stop, or if there's a divided highway that you don't necessarily have to stop in those occasions, because we don't want a traffic hazard where there doesn't have to be one. But perhaps most importantly is our school zones, and those are those zones where the speed limit drops, and so you should be dropping your speed, and maybe more importantly, dropping your phone. While the state law has been passed that says that all school zones are now hands-free zones from phones as long as they are marked. Not all of our school zones are marked, but we strongly encourage our parents to drop those phones. And when I mean marked is that they actually say a hands-free zone. So otherwise, it's just a strongly worded caution to use. But we ultimately hope that everyone will be either using Bluetooth or frankly, just not talking at all, avoiding all distractions when driving through a school zone. But that's important for all drivers to know as school kicks off again.
Well, we thank you very much for coming up and giving us an update, and we wish you the best of luck and keeping everybody safe out there. All right.
Thank you, Jacob. Always a pleasure.
You're welcome. Stay tuned for more right here on HTV.